Hey, here's something real cool and something I've been using for the last 4 years on a very regular basis, and it's the Tascam DR-40 linear PCM recorder. Now, the first thing you'll want to do if you get this thing is you'll want to upgrade the SD card, which Tascam is nice enough to supply you with a 2 gig card, but if you want to get the most out of this machine, you'll want to upgrade to the 32 gig, because especially if you're going to be recording in WAV files, 2 gigs is not really going to give you that much recording capacity. If you're making MP3s, you might be able to get by on a 2 gig card, but to turn it on, you just hold down this home button. Now, I just loaded new batteries in it, so when I do that, I have to punch in the date, and today is September 17th, 2016. Let me just say, it is 11:45 p.m. So a few different things we'll go over real quick here. Recording mode, this button here. This gives you options of making 4-channel recordings, which would be 1 and 2, these here, and then in these XLR in the back, you can connect additional sources and record 4 tracks at once. You can do a dual recording, which is a pretty neat feature. It actually makes 2 recordings, these left and right, and then it makes a dual one where you can choose, where you can choose the, this way, where you can choose to make a second recording at either 9 decibels, 10. You choose the decibel level below, this way in case the recording gets too hot, you have a backup copy at a lower decibel recording, so it gives you some coverage, and that's a good thing to have in some situations. So there's that. There is stereo, which is just using left and right and no external recording. Mono, where you can just use one. Overdub, which I've never actually used. You can. I've never tried to really use this as a multi-track recorder, but you can. Let's say you want to record yourself singing and playing, and then you want to overdub some piano, say, or just overdub some additional guitar. You can do that. So, record mode, as you can see, I've worn that button out over the years. That's something that I use a lot. To get back to the home page, you press this button here. It says home. To the mic levels, if you press this 1 and 2 button, that will give you, when you raise this up, depending on how loud the recording is. If it's a band or something, then I usually have it down here around 30 or 28, especially if there's a live drummer in the room. Maybe if it's just a guitar player and a singer, I might dial it up to around 40. If you're recording nature or something like that, you might turn it up louder, or if you have it where, well, you get the idea. If you're experimenting with recording, or you're doing home recording, you understand how gain control is everything. And you have the same feature on this 3 and 4 button, which will give you the how hot or how cold you want to have your external input recording. And then this menu button here, record setting, wave file. Now this gives you a much larger recording, but it definitely pays. And if you're trying to sync with video, you're going to have to use this, because if you use the MP3 function, it's just not going to sync up. It's going to lose sync very quickly within about a minute, and you're going to have to manually take frames out, or you're going to have to get some kind of third-party software that can sync up video to MP3. But just do yourself a favor, use the WAV file. It's a larger format, but it's worth it. You have this BWF, which I've never actually used, but I've used WAV file, and I've used MP3 as well, which gives you the option of 64K, 128, 192, all the way up to 320, which if you're going to make MP3 recordings, I recommend using the 320K setting. And if you're going to try and sync with video, use the WAV 16-bit setting. Press home. You press record once, and there is your level. You press record a second time, and you're actually recording, and you see the numbers moving, so you know that it's recording, which is nice. If you press the record button again, it pauses. Press it again, it records, and then when you press stop, it shuts off and it creates that file just by number. You hook this into your computer with a USB cable, and you name the file, drag the file over to your hard drive, or drag the file over to your iTunes, and work with it that way. You can then compress it. You can compress a WAV file to an MP3 and upload it to the internet. See, what else can I just show you real quick on this? There's some pretty neat features, like there's a guitar tuner feature. It has effects like reverb, things like that. I've never actually used these, but they may come in handy. It does have a little tiny speaker here, which just is really like a reference speaker. There is a line out. Mine no longer works, but this is 5 years old. It did work for the first few years. It hasn't worked in a while, so I can't listen to it on headphones. I can only upload from the card, and I also can't use these stereo condenser mics, which I had done a time or two, just using this really for the microphone and using the line out to go into like an 8-track mixer or something like that. So I've lost that ability because my line out no longer works, which is not really that big of a deal to me. I think that's it. It works on 3 AAA batteries. I recommend getting rechargeables because it eats batteries up pretty fast. Also because I leave this light on permanently, which is something you can do, I guess in preferences or system maybe. Yeah, here's this backlight. Mine is always on because otherwise I can't see it in the club, which is where I'm usually using it. On external shoots, say, and it gives you some other. You can adjust the contrast to this mono screen. It's not a color screen. Battery type. It has a phantom power, so if you have an external condenser mic that you want to hook up to it, you can. And these external plugs give you the option of XLR or your regular 1/4-inch guitar cable, and so that is a nice feature. And overall, this is a really good portable, affordable recorder. It's very versatile. I definitely like it a lot.
internal speakers, or you can hook up a external mic with the XLR inputs. This little guy always gives me a problem trying to get the SD card out. Here it is with my Shure Beta 58. Really nice mic. Works really well with this Tascam. A great feature with this is having dual recording levels. I'll set one of my recordings to -12 dB